So imagine dropping 50 grand on like a pristine 4K AV setup, and then you discover that the very device you bought to protect it is, well, secretly degrading your video feed.
Oh, man. Yeah, that is pretty much the worst nightmare for AV professionals.
Right. Today we are doing a deep dive into a massive product catalog from HDTVSupply.
Yeah, they are a huge global distributor. I mean, they're really famous in the industry for those massive Wolfpack matrix switchers.
Exactly. But our mission today is actually to skip right past the thousands of high-end switchers and fiber optic cables. We want to highlight one unsung, highly specific hero of the AV world.
The SurgeX SA-20-AR standalone power surge protector.
Okay, let's unpack this. Why is a simple surge protector taking up all of our attention today?
Well, because in the professional tech world, power protection is, it's rarely simple. We usually picture enterprise tech living in these giant climate-controlled server rooms.
Yeah, like the classic IT rack setup.
Right. But the reality is that a lot of crucial equipment just doesn't fit into a rack. We're talking about independent audiovisual gear, maybe localized security systems, or just really specialized computer setups.
Right, so I like to think of a server rack like a gated community for your tech.
Yeah.
Everything is locked down, unified, and protected together.
Oh, I love that analogy.
Thanks. But standalone gear is, well, it's like a lone cabin in the wilderness. It's completely exposed, so it needs its own heavy-duty security system.
Exactly. And that vulnerability is exactly what this SurgeX device is engineered to solve. I mean, it is explicitly designed for independent equipment installed outside of a traditional rack.
So it just sits right next to the gear.
Yep, it's built to be compact. It sits right alongside the gear to provide this localized heavy-duty protection, and you don't need a massive infrastructure overhaul.
But since this gear is out there in the wilderness, as we said, it's dealing with some pretty wild elements. The catalog notes this device eliminates surge energy up to a staggering 6,000 volts.
Oh yeah, 6,000 volts is no joke.
No kidding. And it uses something called Advanced Series Mode Surge Elimination.
Right, and what's fascinating here is the specific language they use in the catalog. They call it non-sacrificial.
Non-sacrificial. Okay, what does that mean exactly?
So most cheap surge protectors you buy at the hardware store, those are sacrificial. They rely on internal components that essentially just throw themselves on the grenade.
Oh, I see. Like they just blow up to save the TV.
Basically, yeah. When a massive surge hits, it's like hitting a brick wall. They destroy themselves to save your equipment, which means you have to throw them away and go buy a new one.
Oh, that sounds annoying.
It is, but the SurgeX device doesn't do that. It handles up to 6,000 volts without failing at all, which, completely changes the game for the longevity of remote equipment.
Wait, I have to push back on that.
Sure, go ahead.
If it's absorbing 6,000 volts without sacrificing itself, where does all that energy actually go? I mean, if it's managing that massive amount of raw power right next to the equipment, doesn't that create static or interference?
That is exactly where that advanced series mode technology comes in. So instead of acting like a brick wall, you can think of this device more like the heavy-duty shocks on a truck.
Okay, shocks on a truck, I'm following.
When that 6,000 volt spike hits, the device uses a massive inductor to act as this electromagnetic bottleneck.
Bottleneck, right.
Right, so it physically slows the surge down, it stores that kinetic energy as a magnetic field, and then it uses capacitors to safely and slowly bleed that energy off over time.
Rather than just violently shunting it all at once?
Exactly.
Okay, so it's basically catching the energy and letting it out slowly. But wait, if standard sacrificial protectors don't do that, where are they violently dumping all that energy?
Well, they have to put it somewhere.
Are they just shooting it straight into the electrical ground wire?
You hit the nail on the head, they dump it right to the ground wire, and in the AV world, we call the resulting side effect ground contamination.
Or common mode disturbances, right?
Yep, exactly.
Hang on. If they're dumping energy into the ground wire, doesn't that mean standard protectors are actively injecting electrical noise into the exact systems they are supposed to protect?
Precisely. And that ground contamination creates invisible electrical noise. I mean, it introduces a hum in your expensive speakers, or maybe static lines and visual artifacts in your 4K video feed.
Oh, wow, that is wild.
Yeah, but because the SurgeX uses inductors and capacitors to bleed the energy off safely, it completely eliminates the surge without producing those harmful side effects.
So it protects the physical power, but just as importantly, it protects the integrity of the AV signal.
You got it.
That is brilliant.
Yeah.
So instead of a cheap shield that rattles your entire armor suit when it gets hit, it's like a high-end shock absorber.
That is a great way to put it.
It keeps the audio and video crystal clear, no matter what is happening with the power lines outside that little cabin in the woods.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, true power protection in the professional space isn't just about preventing your equipment from catching fire.
Right, which is the bare minimum you would hope for.
Exactly. It is really about maintaining the flawless performance of your incredibly expensive gear over the long haul, even when it's operating all on its own.
It really makes you look at the outlets in your own house differently, doesn't it?
Oh,
It
definitely.
actually leaves you with something to ponder.
Yeah.
I mean, if professional, non-sacrificial tech is required to absorb a 6,000-volt hit without degrading a sensitive audio signal, what other invisible power disturbances in our homes might be secretly bottlenecking the performance of our everyday smart devices right now?
Yeah, that is a really good question.
Just something to think about the next time you plug in.